All right. Excuse me. We're back. We're officially back. Daredevil Born Again season 2 is now um in session. I don't know what the fuck you call it. In motion, whatever. That was a terrible intro, but yeah, Daredevil Born Again season 2 is officially kicked off with its first episode today. I just finished watching it like 30 minutes ago. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna sit here and glaze it to death because I mean it wasn't that good. I think it was just fine. From what I'm hearing from a lot of the reviews, it definitely does get better from like episode 3 or 4 onwards. So I'm kind of waiting to get to that point. These first couple episodes are just kind of just like doing a little bit more damage control and trying to get us to where we need to be, which is fine, I guess. I mean, I'd love for every episode to be a masterpiece, but that's not gonna happen. But yeah, I did enjoy this episode for the most part. There was plenty of stuff that it did that I very much appreciated. There's still a whole lot in it though that I'm just like, bro, what are we doing? And I want to get that stuff out of the way first before I get into the positives, just so we have the negative shit out of the way. But something that has been plaguing this show from day one, it's been present. It's present in every episode of season 1, and it's still present here, is the weird, like, window backlighting that they use in, like, every single shot. It is the most annoying fucking thing. I swear to God. I'm serious, dude. It's in, like, every shot, damn near. Like, go back and look at any scenes from Matt's apartment in season 1, and it's got that backlighting, window, hazy ass lighting. It looks so weird, and it washes everything out, and it looks terrible. And I know it's ridiculous to expect this show to look as good as the Netflix show. I get that. And there are plenty of stuff. There's plenty of stuff in this show, and specifically in this episode, that does look good. I just wish that they didn't have this stupid, hazy fucking window backlighting, whatever you call it, like this mysterious fog or whatever. Like, literally, from the first scene in season 1, you got the damn. I know that served a purpose because it was like what's his name? Bullseye threw in the smoke bomb or whatever, and it's all foggy and hazy and stuff in there. Foggy, no pun intended. Rest in peace, King. I get that. But I mean, that's just one of many examples of this show. Like, go back in season 1 and look at any scene in Matt's apartment, and it's shot with him in front of the window, and all of the light coming in from the window makes him look like he's in heaven or something. And there's so many shots in this new episode that look like that, and it's like, why are we still doing this, dude? It is the most annoying thing, like, ever. And I wish this show didn't do it as much. If there was like a couple of shots, that's fine. But like, it's like Benson and Moorhead are like addicted to just washing out the entire frame with this hazy, bright lighting. It's so annoying, and it is just so present here. And I'm just like, dude, cut it out. I thought that was like a product of the previous, like, like the pre-overhaul show, but no, it's still going on. Like, they're still carrying it over, and it is just so annoying. And it just, like, I know, like I said, I know it's unrealistic to expect this show to look as good as the Netflix show. I know that. But at the same time, when you throw in shots like these where it's just entirely washed out by the window lighting, it makes it really hard to defend the visual style of this show. Because, like I said, there are shots in this show that I do think look good, and they're lit well, and they're graded well, and it just looks good. But then you have shots like, for example, and I'm going to be giving full spoilers from now on for this new episode, so be warned. But like that scene, like any scene of Matt and Karen in the little basement hideout, Josie's bar room that they're in, whatever, doing the little training and shit, it's all washed out by this mysterious fog. Like, listen, this is also something that's pissing me off, is that, like, it's one thing when the actual window is in frame and it's super bright and it's just it's just washing everything out. But it's a whole other thing when the window isn't even in the shot, but it's literally still like hazy and shit in there. It's like, what the hell? Is Foggy still with us here in spirit, literally filling the room with fog? Like, I thought we left this shit in season 1. I understand that when Bullseye threw the smoke bomb in there, that to cover up the bad CGI, I understand that. You literally have a scene of Matt and Karen standing there talking. Why do you need this fucking random fog and haze everywhere? Like, who is smoking in the room? I don't understand. It is so aggravating, and I wish they didn't do it. It is just so annoying, but I don't want to get too harped up on that. But I will say it does pull me out whenever it happens. It's oh my god. Excuse me. Yeah, that does really piss me off, and I'm sure it's going to be continuing in this show, and it's going to piss me off every time it happens, and that's just something I'm going to have to live with. But yeah, that just, I hate that. I hate that. But okay, besides that, what else do we have in the episode? There was a couple. I thought the opening fight sequence with Daredevil on the boat fighting those guys, I didn't think that was shot very well. Which is really a shame because the original show had such amazingly choreographed and well shot fight sequences, and this show just, for the most part, doesn't. There's too many cuts. You can't see what the hell is going on. The cuts are unnecessary, and there's just stupid random violence for the sake of it. And they did that in season 1 too. They went in and sprinkled in these little bits of bloody gore and shit just to try to make up for everything that the original pre-overhaul show did, because I mean, it was a shit show. But after the overhaul, they kind of combed back through those episodes, added in some random bone snaps and blood gashes and, you know, shit like that. And it's just like, it makes me believe that the people behind this show don't understand the impact of the violence that it was. Like, the violence in the Netflix show was never just violence for the sake of shock, for the, oh wow, like that, listen to that guy's bone break, oh wow, Kingpin crushed a guy's head, you know. It was never just that for the sake of it. It always had a purpose, and it always carried weight to it. But it feels like the violence in the show doesn't really carry much weight to it. Like, yeah, you see a Daredevil snap a guy's bone mid-fight in this show, and it's like, oh, it shows the blood and whatever, but, like, I don't know, it just doesn't carry the same impact as, like, when Kingpin smashes guy's head in with a door, or, you know, when that guy bashes his head on the damn spike in season 1 when he says Fisk's name. Like, that shit meant something. But in this show, it just feels lighter. Like, don't get me wrong, a guy's bone snapping in half is still a guy's bone snapping in half, but just the way it's presented just feels a little off. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but that's kind of just how I feel about the violence in this show thus far. But getting back to my original point, I don't think that opening fight sequence was shot very well. Like I said, there was too many unnecessary cuts, and the visual style of the show, while the haziness wasn't as present here, the kind of nighttime setting still kind of made it hard to see what's going on. Not that you can't have a fight sequence at nighttime, because the original show had plenty of those. You just have to light it well enough, and it was lit decently, but I think the cuts just ruined it. But it was alright. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It was far better than that fucking terrible ass fight sequence between Daredevil and Muse in season 1. That might have been the worst thing I've ever laid my eyes on in my 19 years of being alive. But yeah, that was another issue I had. Jeez, I'm trying to think what else before I get into the positives, because there was a lot of positives. I know I'm harping really hard on the negatives, but I'm doing that for reasons, because they really piss me off. Like, when the mysterious fog and the horrible window backlighting is in every other shot, it's going to piss me off, and I'm going to harp on it for a while, because it's very present in the show. I wouldn't be dogging on it this much if it was literally just one shot, but it's like every other shot. Sorry, I just got going again. But what else? there was a couple of like cutbacks to like scenes from season 1 that I didn't necessarily think needed to be there. It was kind of like in the Flash season 9 when it would like flash back to moments from season 1 whenever they would get called, like whenever there was some kind of callback or reference or something, and it's like, I get it. You don't have to keep showing clips from season 1. I remember that. I watched season 1. This kind of happens in this episode where there's a couple of moments. It's not that bad of an issue. It very rarely happens, but when it does happen, I'm just like, okay, you didn't really need to do that. I'm not an idiot. I remember season 1. It was only a year ago. Um, like when Karen and Matt are talking about, she's like, "Do you miss being Matt Murdock?" And she's like, "Nelson Murdock and Paige." And then it shows Nelson Murdock and Paige from season 1. And it's like, yep, I know that. I remember them too. I remember that scene. So one of the only scenes Foggy was in before he got murked. But yeah, and then another one with like Heather flashing back to Muse. I think what they did with Heather in this episode was for the most part pretty good. I'm gonna get into that later, but like just the random cutaways to like her getting attacked by Muse, like I remember that. You don't need to show me. Trying to think if there was any more of those cutaways. There probably was, and I'm just not remembering, or maybe there wasn't. I don't know. Like I said, it's not too big of an issue. I'm kind of just like I'm finding like minuscule flaws at this point. Before I get into the positives, there really wasn't too much else that like really stuck out to me as bad. Um, in this episode, if I do remember at some point in the video, I'll make a note of it. But there's nothing else really that makes me too like upset, like the damn window backlighting hazy mysterious fog syndrome that this show has. There's nothing that quite pushes my buttons quite like that. But anyways, I digress. Let's get into the positives, because there was a lot of great in this episode, and there's a lot of promise for how this season is going to unfold and how it's going to treat its characters, and just things that I'm very excited for. And the biggest thing, I think, that is a contrast from season 1, and it definitely feels like they're still doing a bit of damage control. And while that is kind of annoying that we're still trying to pick up the pieces and fix, that old fucking Frankenstein of a show, it is still disappointing that we're still trying to fix it. I do appreciate Benson and Moorhead's efforts to try and make the new characters actually interesting. It really feels like they are doing the legwork that should have been done in season 1 to get us to care about characters like Cherry and Kirsten McDuffie and Heather. In this episode alone, they get more characterization than they did throughout the entirety of season 1, and I think that just speaks volumes to how terrible they were written in season 1, especially in those pre-overhaul episodes, dude. I can't stress that enough. Those are just they were terrible. They were just boring, one-dimensional exposition machines that didn't need to be there, They were just replacing characters from the original show that we liked way more. And while I do wish they'd bring some of those characters back, and I think they are bringing Mahoney back later this season, which is very exciting, even though they are coming, even though I'd rather see the other characters, I do appreciate them taking the time to try to give these characters some dimension and give them some characterization, get us to care about them a little bit more. These cute little scenes between Cherry and Kirsten and Matt and Cherry, I actually like them in this episode. I like a scene with Cherry in it. I never thought that was a sentence I would say in my life, but here we are. That scene with him and Matt underneath the bridge, I thought it was great. Cute little banter dialogue, giving Cherry some dimension. I thought it was nice. It's still it doesn't make up for the shitty ass characterization he gets in season 1, if you can even call it characterization, but it's something, and I appreciate them giving us something, because that is the bare minimum that characters should get is scenes that make us care about them, because that's what good writing is. Anyways, yeah, same thing with Kirsten. I thought literally in that one scene which she had with Cherry, I thought was better than any of her scenes in season 1. All 5 of them, like literally. and that scene she had with the guy, I forgot his name, from the attorney general's office or whatever the hell. I thought that was nice. I thought that was nice. I thought she had some cool dialogue, I guess. Like she mentioned that she has four brothers, I think. We didn't know that. That's the kind of shit. This is basic screenwriting, bro. Include these little character details that make us relate to these characters and make us sympathetic for them and make us like them. They didn't even do that in season one, and they just ran laps around season one in this one episode, and it's insane how just literally like two lines can go so far in giving these characters depth. And I thought that they did that very well. Same thing with Heather. This whole kind of PTSD thing she's got going on with Muse, where she's kind of seeing him in the background sometimes. I think that's cool. I think that can go places and actually make her an interesting character. Like, this shouldn't be some revolutionary, insane thing, the writers getting us to care about characters, but it was just so poorly done in season one that I feel like any sort of scraps that we get now is like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Sorry, I just kicked the desk. But yeah, I thought what they're doing with those characters is pretty cool. And BB Urich, she had that scene with Karen. I thought that was nice. She has that scene with what's his name, Daniel, who, by the way, maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention to him in season one. I haven't really seen anything else Michael Gandolfini's been in. He looks exactly like his dad. Like, I swear to God, he looked exactly like Tony Soprano in like multiple scenes, like the smiles and shit and like the chuckles, like literally down to a T. Like, holy shit. I guess this is something, I mean, obviously it's his son, so like, of course he's gonna look like him, but like, he looks exactly like him, dude. Like, freakishly similar. I just had to point that out because there was a couple of times where I was like, dude, that is literally Tony Soprano. I mean, he's not speaking with the exact same accent or anything. He's got a New Yorker accent instead of a fucking New Jersey accent. That was terrible. But there was a couple of shots where I was like, holy shit, dude, that is literally James Gandolfini, like, reincarnated. Rest in peace, King. But yeah, sorry, I just had to mention that. But yeah, I thought they are doing some nice things with these new. I say new, like they are not like a whole. They haven't been in the show a whole season, which they have, but they're basically new because we haven't given any depth to these characters. So at this point, before this episode, they're still just like blank slates. So they might as well be new characters. This is the kind of characterization they should have gotten in their introduction a whole season ago, but they didn't get it. And while it is, it's a whole season later and we're just now finally getting characterization, whatever, I'll take what I can get. But yeah, I thought that was a huge green flag for the future of this season and of this show, is that they're actually trying to put in the legwork to get us to care about these characters. Because it's not that we don't think these characters can be good, it's that they haven't given us anything to work with. They haven't given us anything, but now they're finally giving us stuff, and I very much appreciate that. Okay, what else do we have here? I thought the whole ending sequence was pretty cool. With Cherry, and he's having the heart attack, and Matt's like, getting thrown off balance, and they take his mask off. I wasn't expecting that. And they're like, holy shit, it's Matt Murdock, and then Bullseye slimes him out, and he throws in the little knife that says you're welcome. I thought that was a great ending. I thought that was fantastic. Cannot wait to see my GOAT back. Bullseye, God, I love him. When they announced he was going to be back in season one, I damn near fell to my knees in a damn Walmart. But that was that shit almost made me cry, dude. Like, I wanted nothing more than for Bullseye to come back, because it's just acknowledgement, some level of acknowledgement of season three, because it seems like season three at the time it came out, and for years after, it went under so many people's radars. But I'm so glad that if they took anything out of season three, it was Ben Poindexter, Wilson Bethel. I thought he was fantastic, and I'm so glad he's back, and he's gonna kick ass this season, and I'm so excited. But yeah, he's back, and I thought that whole little ending sequence was pretty cool. Um, what else? What else? What else? Um, Matthew Lillard, I thought he is a very nice addition to the show, and he definitely is chewing up the scenery, which is exactly what he does. And I'm interested to see where his character goes and all that stuff, but more than anything, I just like seeing him on screen. Like he just, like I said, he chews up the screenery always, and he's just a pleasure to watch. And I have loved his like 2 or 3 scenes. I think he literally had, yeah, I think he had 3 scenes this entire episode. They were awesome. I love seeing him on screen. I love seeing him ham it up. I love seeing him have a good. He's just one of those actors who has a good fucking time. You know, he just chews up the scenery. And did I say the screenery before? Jesus Christ. Yeah, he chews up the scenery, and he's amazing, and I love him, and I can't wait to see him in the rest of the season. Um, what else? What else? What else? I'm not sure what else. Um, Honestly, there's not much else to talk about in this episode. It kind of, I mean, obviously it was episode 1, so it's a lot of just like getting us back into the fray, getting us familiar with what's going on, because I think it was like a 6-month time jump. According to Dario Scartapani in one of these interviews, he said it was a 6-month time jump since season 1. So obviously shit has changed since then, and they're just kind of just getting us acquainted with how things are going on. And then from this point forward, I think we're actually going to start to pick up steam, especially I've heard in episodes 3 and 4 from the people who got the early screenings of this season. It definitely starts to pick up in episodes 3 and 4, and I'm just so excited for that. We get a 2-episode release next week. We get episodes 2 and 3, so I'm very excited for that because we're getting right into the meat of it, which is great. Very, very, very excited for that. Very excited. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. I feel like there was more to talk about, but I don't know. I'll remember it later, and then I'll just be like, well, fuck it. I turned the camera off already. But yeah, overall, it was a fine episode. I thought it gave enough promise for the rest of the season. It didn't wow me, of course. Like I said, I still have a lot of problems with the visuals, the way scenes are lit. It's aside from the haziness and like the weird fog problem they have in this show and the window backlighting, all that bullshit. Aside from that, and I know, like I said, it's not the Netflix show, but like I can't stop thinking about like everything in the frame, like everything in the shot always looks real, but I don't know. There's this level of like authenticity that the Netflix show has that I feel like this show doesn't have. Like you look at a frame or you look at a shot and it's like, yeah, that looks real, but it feels too polished, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's the lens they're using or the type of camera or the lighting. I mean, obviously the shitty ass backlighting window problem plays a part in it, but even beyond that, even the scenes that don't have that, it just feels a little bit too polished to me, and that's definitely a problem that season 1 had. And to be honest, I don't think that's a problem that's ever going to be 100% fixed, even if they fix the whole window backlighting mysterious hazy fog problem. Even if they do away with that, there's still just like a little itch in the back of my head that's like, but the Netflix show just like felt so tangible and like real, and like just like all of like it just had this level of authenticity to it that this season and this show honestly just doesn't really have. But I feel like that's something I'm just gonna have to kind of come to terms with, and I don't think it's gonna go away. I'm just gonna have to kind of suck it up and accept it, which is fine. I'll get used to it. I got used to it last season. I can do it again. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about all of that. I'd give this episode like a 7 out of 10. It was solid. It was a nice reintroduction. I'm looking forward to getting into the meat and potatoes of this season and really getting into the thick of it. I'm very excited to get to that point. I knew going in I wasn't gonna be wowed by this episode or anything. It wasn't gonna knock me off my chair or whatever, knock me off my feet. That it was kind of just going to be this more slower kind of introductory thing, which is fine. You need that, it makes the eventual climax and all the crazy shit that happens later in the season. It makes it that much better. That it kind of built up to this point, starting from a slower episode like this. So I think it was fine. It didn't need to be anything amazing. I still fucking hate the window backlighting, random fog. I'm never going to stop talking about that. But that is probably my biggest problem with the show, is just a lot of how the stupid lighting. But yeah, that's really about it. Yeah, the new Punisher special presentation got announced today. Punisher One Last Kill. I'm sure that's just going to be fine. It's going to release a week after the Born Again Season 2 finale. That's why they're doing the little two-parter episode next week, to make room for the Punisher special presentation, which is fine. I'm really not expecting much out of that. I don't want to get into like a whole discussion with the Punisher and his portrayal in the MCU, because it's kind of just like whatever. It's not bad. It's just like it's fine. It's the same shit. And I'm sure the special presentation is literally going to have Frank go through the exact same shit that he has in 2 other seasons. But whatever. I don't want to get into all that now. But yeah, that got announced today for May 12th. So that's cool. And yeah, I'm going to be doing these immediate reactions / reviews after every episode of Born Again. And yeah, that's about all I got for you. Stay tuned for those reviews and whatever the hell else I might do. I don't know at this point. But yeah, peace out, y'all.